Greetings, Eric Backer. Thanks for coming back, checking out the channel. If you're new to this channel, there are a lot of videos on the channel. So my recommendation is to have a look at the playlists, because there are thousands of videos on this channel now. So we've tried to put them in playlist, and you'll probably find that quite reasonably okay. If you're going to do a search, you'll probably find no doubt a video for a question that you have. All right? The channel was started, I think, about 4 years ago now, and yeah, thanks for tuning in. Now, here's a common question I get asked so many times. So many people are confused when it comes to this particular question. Okay, what is the difference between a sign and a symptom? So you've heard of signs and symptoms. So when you go to the doctor, you talk about signs and symptoms. Okay, so diseases or conditions, medical conditions we have got signs, and they've also got symptoms. But what's the difference? Well, a sign is objective, meaning you can see it with your own eyes, or you can smell it, you can hear it, or whatever, but it's observable to the bystander. So the doctor will be able to do, for example, a blood test, and a sign of anemia will be a low iron count. Okay, a symptom of anemia will be fatigue. Okay, if we look at other conditions like high blood pressure, a sign of high blood pressure will obviously be like blood pressure going up, and associated symptoms of fatigue, headache, dizziness, all kinds of symptoms like that. These are signs. These are observable signs. The symptoms, however, can be quite confusing for someone with high blood pressure. It can be difficult sometimes, because symptoms can be all over the place. Some symptoms are subjective, so that means it's something that you feel inside your body, and you're trying to explain that to the doctor. Okay. You can say, I got this terrible headache, and my tummy's playing up, and I've got all this sort of stuff. And so it's up to the doctor, of course, then to look at these symptoms and then see if they can determine if they are actually signs of a condition. Now, many doctors pay attention, particularly to signs. Many also pay attention to symptoms, but some don't pay much attention to symptoms at all. All they care about is what they can objectively determine in you, the patient. Now, as a naturopathic physician, I didn't care so much about only looking at signs. It was more interest to me what the person told me that they had. Particularly when a person would say to me, look, I've been to this doctor and I've got this pain in my back, I've got this bloating, I've got this gas, I feel crappy, I feel terrible. But the doctor's not interested in that, because he or she said they've run all the tests and everything's fine. So it's probably all in the thing up on top of your shoulders. Okay. So that's the difference between signs and symptoms. It's very, very important if you are experiencing symptoms and your doctor pays no attention to those symptoms, or little, or disregards them, is actually to be quite observant with yourself and to write a lot of these things down. So write down when sort of roughly the time you get the symptom, how bad the symptom is. Is it, relaxing? Does it sort of back off? Does it get bad sometimes? Is it bad at specific times of the year or day or month? That particular symptom you've got, do you have that in conjunction with another symptom? So try and think carefully about these sort of things and write them down. These are very important bits of information for a practitioner who does care about symptoms. For that particular practitioner, will sit down with you, and then he or she will pay particular interest in them. Okay. When I studied homeopathy many years ago, I learned that the most important thing in case taking a case, with a patient, was more about what you observe yourself. Because sometimes people exaggerate symptoms, or they'll put spin on symptoms, or they'll actually lie and tell you things that they haven't actually got. But there's ways of catching people out. There really are. The best way to catch people out, okay, I'll tell you a little secret, is by observing people very carefully and watching them, and then asking them particular types of questions. Detectives and cops are particularly good at this with experience. They know how to catch people out. They look at the eyes, they look at the face, they look at the body language. Okay, the body doesn't lie. You can't lie to me. If you're in my room, I can pick instantly like that, well, not instantly, within a few minutes, how severe the condition really is. At the end of the consultation, I'll know pretty well in my own mind how much spin you've put on it, if the symptoms are valid or real, and a lot more information. And I didn't even ask you much. All I did was observe you very carefully, and you kept talking and telling me what was important. generally what comes out in these consultations is a lot of emotional stuff, okay? Because symptoms and signs can also be linked up to emotional issues or behavioral issues that we have. Compulsions, addictions, all sorts of things, anxieties, fears, they can all create symptoms, okay? Now, psychiatrists know this, doctors know this, patients don't know this. Well, some do know it, but yeah, be observant with yourself if you've got a condition. As I said, signs are observable and determinable through testing and observations and are very, very objective. Symptoms are subjective, and there can be spin on it and all sorts of stuff. So just be careful when you do visit a practitioner not to put too much spin on a symptom. In fact, if you logically and intelligently explain your situation to the doctor, often you're in a way better position to get help than just talking a lot about pain and this and that, okay? So think about it carefully. But that's my take on it anyway, signs and symptoms. Thanks for tuning in.